Hello, welcome back to Gold Coin. I'm Kathy Burgos, and I am so excited to talk to you today. Lately, I have actually been seeing some images on social media, and for those of you who just listen to the audio, you won't be able to see the picture, but for those of you who will be looking at the video, we are on YouTube, and I do have several platforms of podcasts that I am on, and I will just have it at the end so that you can see and you can subscribe to wherever that you already do or you're more comfortable. So uh, enough of that. So I really want to get to this subject. So the image is, for those of you who can't see the picture, is of a morbidly obese woman and an anorexic woman, and they are both kneeling on their knees, and their heads are touching, and maybe their knees are touching, and it's a very striking picture. It's whoa, when you see the picture, and they're both nude. I was gonna say it's not like a provocative picture, but in a sense it is. They're not like intentionally showing body parts, but the whole thing is, and I'm gonna find out who took the picture and what exactly it means. But what the picture did for me was I immediately identified with the big woman. And I was reading what different people were saying, and they were saying, wow, I really relate to this picture as somebody who's lost a lot of weight, wanting to be the other person, or a lot of people are like, you know what, it's a mental illness and it's something that, that you really got to work on. And, everybody was just, great ranges of conversation about it. So I wanted to look it up myself because everybody's like, oh, it's body dysmorphia. Okay, it's not the first time I've heard about it. And having a conversation with one of my friends a couple months back about it. So it was interesting. It came back up again. So I was like, you know what? Let me see. Do I have body dysmorphia? Um, I don't know that I do. Let me read about it. So, oh my gosh, I started reading about it, and I've read and read and read articles, and doctors. There actually it's under. People do not study it a lot. It hasn't gotten the attention that it deserves from the medical community for whatever reason. There is a couple doctors and people who have really decided that they wanted to study it. And there's actually a lady, Dr. Catherine something. I have all the information for you. And she wrote a book called The Broken Mirror, I believe. And it was the first of its kind. So I began to read. There's a couple organizations and foundations that are dedicated to it, and I'm looking at some of my notes here. It's called BDD, so it's body dysmorphia. Yeah, and they call it BDD. So it's really interesting. So what I read was that it's basically people who are obsessed with a certain body part. Now, typically, this is a typical study of this. It's people who are obsessed with features on their face, such as their eyes, their nose, their mouth, or hair. And they typically will spend from 3 to 8 hours a day, obsessing over their face, maybe the symmetry, maybe thinking their nose is too big or disfigured or something, or their hair. From this is all the stuff that I've read about it, and they'll do all of this stuff. They're obsessed, and some of the people go so far where they won't even go out into public. They're isolated. They won't go to social functions because they think they're disfigured. They think they're ugly. They think they are, and they're not, according to everybody else. And so I was like, okay, well, I mean, now, I love this topic because there's so many range of opinions and emotions and probably fact and fiction and everything in between. But for me, I was like, okay, well, then I don't have it. Yes, I know all of us at some point or another, we wish we had a different, look or whatever. People always have asked me, hey, would you ever get, we talk about plastic surgery a lot, me and my friends, everybody does. So, and I said, there's nothing I would change about my face. And not that I think my face is perfect, because I'm sure, okay, my nose is too big, or my top lip is small, or, but I said, if I change it, then I'm not going to be me anymore. Like, I still want my look, because then I'm going to look like everybody else. Living in LA for so long, in Southern California, certain areas of the city, you can tell everybody has, like, some people have a certain look. I used to work in the marina. I've mentioned that before, and I would see a lot of celebrities and actors and stuff, and it looked like they might have all went to the same doctor. I'm not sure. They looked good, but I'm just saying, I'm not against plastic surgery or anything like that. So, anyways, I don't want to get too far off topic, but so I was like, okay, so these people, they pick at their skin, like, they imagine that there's stuff on their skin, and they'll they have all these rituals, well, where they'll look in the mirror or in shiny surfaces, and now you're probably thinking, I do that, I do that. Are you? Have you ever walked by a building that's all glass, and you're like, or like, how about when you and all your friends take a picture, and the only person you notice is you, right? Okay, so this topic just really has me on fire, because I was like, oh my gosh, this is, do I have it? Do I have it? And so I was thinking, oh, well, yes, I obsess about the imperfections. I think, and pretty much most people do obsess to some degree. Okay, men and women, and there was nothing about weight loss, though. They did say breasts. Some people were obsessed with their breasts, or their eyes, or their nose, or their face, or their hair. Some people their waist, but it didn't go into, being overweight or being underweight. And then finally, after reading so much about it, it did say that anorexia was considered an eating disorder that might be a sub of body dysmorphia. Okay, so now we're getting into weight loss and da da da. Okay, so I was like, okay, so I don't see anywhere where it says, because this is what I was thinking body dysmorphia was, okay? This was my thought. And I'll tell you how it came about. Well, I know when I started losing weight, I didn't always think that I looked very good. And of course, people are, when they're you. This was my thought. When you lose a lot of weight, people are not used to seeing you at your new weight, and they might have preferred the way you looked at a heavier weight. Okay, so I know just recently, within the last 6 months, people have begun to make comments to me, instead of saying, hey, you look really good, you look great, wow, I'm so proud of you, and oh, wow, you look nice. And it's gone to those type of comments too. If you lose any more weight, you're gonna look, you're gonna look sick, you're gonna look like you're taking drugs, your head's too big, your face looks really, like, drawn in, or you look like you don't look attractive. I have been told that I don't look good at all. My face, my body, that I looked better when I was bigger. And it it's hard to deal with, because you figure all the hard work, everything that I've been through, and for someone to tell you that, it can mess with your mind. It can mess with your heart, and you can say, well, I ain't tripping, I know who I am, right? But there can be times where you're like, man, is it true? Is this, people just don't want to tell me, right? So, getting back to body dysmorphia. So what I thought it was when sometimes I look in the mirror, I still see the 350-pound girl. I look at my stomach, I look at my legs, I look at my arms, I look at my chin area, because, you know, and I thought that's what it was. That whenever you see yourself, it's like double vision. Some people call it double vision. When you see yourself as your former self, and it's not reality, you're not the same. So that's what I thought it was. And I'm reading all this stuff about body dysmorphia, and it's not supposedly that. So I think, okay, I'm not done. I would really love to do, just really quickly, I would love to do like like an Instagram live, and I don't really like those things, but I might start liking them because I would love to hear what other people have to say. I would love to hear of other people's experiences and what they've learned and what they've gained, even educated guesses, uneducated, because it's such an interesting topic. And I really believe that it needs to be talked about more. And in all the articles that I read, it says that it's been underserved in its research, basically. I don't think people can understand it because it's a trip. So, anyways, so going back to that's what I thought it was. Sometimes I would go to a restaurant and I used to not be able to fit in booths. And I would be so deathly afraid every time we went out to eat, which I love to go out to eat, of course. But I was afraid because I was like, what if the restaurant doesn't have tables and chairs? Because I already knew I couldn't fit in a freaking booth. Okay? And Eric, how can you be eating when you have the table like this to you and you're like, you can't. So, and I would always be like, soon before I would even walk in the door, I'd be like, hey, ask them if they have tables and chairs because I can't sit in the booth. It's like, so now sometimes that will still happen to me. I'll go somewhere and I'll be like, oh man, what if they have just booths? It just, because I thought like that for so long that I still sometimes think like that. So that's what I thought body dysmorphia was. Anyways, you don't know unless you know. Some people might be watching this and like, oh, you're crazy. What are you talking about? But it's when you live with morbidly obesity or any overweightness and you have to kind of adjust different things and do different things, like I said, I've said it many times, it becomes your normal. So that was my normal. Always making sure there's tables and chairs and no booths. How sad, right? If they didn't have table and chairs, I wouldn't go. Like, nope. What? It's Michelin star restaurant? Nope, sorry. They just got booths. I can't go there. Look up Michelin star if you don't know. Very good places to eat. Anyways, so this topic has me like, wow. So I'm reading about that, and they're saying that usually starts in adolescence, and it works its way up. A lot of people don't get treatment. A lot of people take medication for it. They have cognitive therapy. They have, all kinds of stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is serious. Did I have that distortion or double vision of myself before I was heavy? Because like I said, I got heavy in my 20s. No, I didn't. But that doesn't mean I don't have body dysmorphia, right? Because mine, I feel like, so I was so big for so long that, like a doctor explained to me, because I thought if you lose the weight, your skin is just gonna shrink back. Or if you work out, and not so much cardio, but muscle training, the muscles will fill it out. Well, I carried like an extra person on my, of fat for so long that my body, no matter how much exercise, no matter how many weights I lift, yes, some of my skin did go back, but not all of it. And there's nothing I can do about it. Genetics, age, there's so many factors. Some people, oh my gosh, they lose 100 pounds and they look like, you know what I mean? Or, just like somebody, if you ever seen them, they were pregnant, and you're like, dang girl, you had a baby, right? It's genetics, it's skin, it's so many factors go into it. Everybody is not the same. Nobody is the same, okay? Some people can drop it and their skin tightens right back up and bam, it's like elastic and, it's there. Mine did not. And the doctor told me, look, you carried it for so long. Your age, your genetics, there's so many factors. If you want to get rid of some of that skin, probably you would need to get plastic surgery. Oh, that's a whole nother podcast. That's like 10 podcasts. So anyways, going back to body dysmorphia. So then I finally was like, okay, well, so then what is everybody talking about? The big girl and the skinny girl? That's not. So then finally I find some articles on, it's called phantom fat. Another term was body image distortion. Let's see, what else did I find? Yeah. So then there's a whole other host of doctors and people who said, yes, body dysmorphia, like a lot of weight loss people, had double vision, or they had body distortion images where they would see them, they didn't see themselves as how they really were. Now, I could relate to that. So I'm like, okay, so is this body dysmorphia? Are they combined? I think what it is that there's not been enough research and study on it, and they're all like interconnected, related, or subs in some way, or cousins. You get it? So it's like, you know, because eating disorders are kind of like a cousin of body dysmorphia, and anorexia is a sub, and then body, all these terms. What was that other one? Body image distortion. So I was like, wow, so how do you get past this? What do you do? What have I done? I'm a lot better. And that's why you do need a coach or a good friend, somebody you could talk to, because if you are experiencing that in any way, you do need help. I'm not saying, hey, go get on medication, go get therapy, but you need, it's negative, and it's not good for you. It's hurtful because you could get stuck there, and a lot of times, and people who haven't lost weight, they don't understand it. For me, what I've noticed is there's triggers. Things will trigger it, like going to a restaurant. That'll trigger it, where I start feeling, oh my God, this anxiety because I'm not going to fit in the chair. I can fit in the chair now most times, but not all. But for so many years I couldn't. Or some people, I've heard this never happened to me. I used to think this was wild. I would hear people say, when they lost a lot of weight, oh, when I go into a store, I automatically go to the plus section. Girl, not me, honey. I avoid that section like the plague. So when I would hear other girls like myself, or women who are men, whatever, they're like, oh, I still go to the plus section on accident. Like, girl, are you serious? Like, I thought that was so wild. But it was just like me not being able to go to a restaurant thinking that there's a booth or a table or a chair. It was the same thing. It was like you still went to the place where you always did. You still thought of yourself as that person, even though you weren't no longer. So, so everybody has different things. So for me, like I said, I'm going to talk about some solutions before we end. See how much time we have. I could just go on this. We even have like part 2, 3, 4, and 5 on body dysmorphia and what was that other one? Body image distortion. So a couple months ago, I went to the doctor. I hurt my leg, and I just went after work or whatever, and went in there, and I got weighed, and I think I was about 10 pounds, maybe 10 or 15 pounds heavier than I am now. And I went in there, and of course, they weigh you, there's a BMI chart right there. And of course, I'm still considered overweight. I've lost 165 pounds plus. I'm still overweight for my height. So I sit down, and my first time meeting this doctor, first thing she says to me is, we really need to get you on a plan. She was, oh, no. This is what she said to me. She said, do you have diabetes? And I was like, even when I was 350 pounds, I didn't have diabetes. Thank you, Jesus, right? And I said, and all of a sudden, I had like this sinking feeling in my stomach. And I started to like kind of like get clammy, like I was going to start like, and I was like, no, why? And she's looking at me, and I go, and mind you, she was not a thin person. She wasn't, I probably was smaller than her. She wasn't like a fit person, and she said, you don't have diabetes? Are you sure? And I was like, she said, we need to get you tested right away. And, and I was like, are you saying that because I'm overweight? And she's like, yes. And I was sitting there, and I'm in my chair, and I don't know if I should like yell at her or cry. I felt like the 350-pound girl that I used to be. I mean, immediately, all those feelings, all those perceptions, everything. And she was like, oh yeah, and I said, well, I I exercise and I try to eat right. And she said, oh, I need to see your plan. She was so like, you know what, you need help, you are overweight, and we need to get help for you right away. We need to get you tested, we need everything done on you. And I was like, I didn't even have a doctor say that to me when I was 300 pounds, and here I think it was like maybe 168 that day. My weight might fluctuate 3 to 5 pounds, in a month or something like that. And I was like, and I just I don't know if it was because I had drove so far to get there. I had worked all day, like I was tired, but I just was so upset. And of course I tell my friends, and like, did you tell her how much weight you lost? Did you tell? And I said, no, I didn't. And I say all of this to tell you this. When people would compliment me and tell me, man, Kathy, you look so good, and I would never feel it inside of me. I didn't. You know why? Because the people who had never met me still thought I was an overweight person. And I knew that. I don't know how I knew that. And that day with the doctor, proved it to me. Sure, I could have told her. Sure, I could have whipped out my before and afters. I got a whole camera full. I got a whole phone full of them. But I didn't want to. It's like the fear realized. You want to know what a person who's never seen you before thinks of you. Do they think I'm thin? Do they think I'm petite? Do they think that I look good for all the weight that I've lost and all the strength training and cardio and all the nutritious foods that I eat? And I have been for going on, quite a long time, many years now. This doctor who's trained in, taking care of people looked at me as a very overweight woman still. And she really was on it, you need help. I need to see your plan. We need to get you, tested. And I was like, oh my God. Everybody else who doesn't know me from before still thinks I'm overweight. That shouldn't have bothered me, because it's really about what I think, right? And then just a couple months before, or a little bit before that, I had somebody tell me, oh, you look horrible. You, and not in those words. You look better when you were bigger. So it's I'm hearing these two things, and you try not to let what other people say affect you. You try not, and then you got your own thoughts, your own, what is it called again? Body image distortion thoughts, your body dysmorphia thoughts. It's how do you navigate? Right? How do you navigate this? Your positive self-talk is one of them. You have to be able to change that internal voice. I did a podcast with Gabriel the other day. You can listen to it. And he's like, what were some of the biggest obstacles? And I didn't really mention that part, but he was like, what mentally made you go for it and not give up and continue with it? And it was changing that internal voice. And it takes time, and it takes practice, and it takes help, and it takes support. And, that's one of the reasons why I do what I do, why I developed plans to help coaching people, because I saw that I needed it and it wasn't available. Yeah, I could read 1,000 memes. I could put my picture before and after and have people tell me, wow, great job. But it would only last for so long. I had to develop that inner voice within me that said, no, you're not what they said. Whether it's a doctor, whether it's a relative, whether it's a friend, whether it's a well-meaning person. And, because people will say things and they think that, have you ever had a reverse compliment? It's when somebody compliments you and then right afterwards they insult you. It's oh, you look so good, but oh, you better tone up that skin, oh yeah, work out, start lifting weights, because you got to tone up now. You really need to tone up. Honey, you need to tone your mouth up, right? That's what I feel like saying. But it's like, most of the time I'm so shocked that people have the audacity to even say things like that. And I know I'm not the only one. I'm sure, things have been said. And it's like, I'm typically not the kind of person that will, say anything to people about their appearance, probably because of, the things that I've been through with my appearance, or I'm very quick to compliment people because I think that sometimes people have beautiful teeth. I love white teeth. When I see people smile, I'll tell them, "Oh my God, your teeth are just beautiful." It's weird, I know. If I've ever told you that, please disregard me. Don't pay attention. But I'm more of a person to compliment than to not. So when people aren't that way towards me, it's like, okay, well, you don't like my eyebrows. These are my real eyebrows. They're so thick, like Frida Kahlo. Like when I was a kid, people thought I was a boy. They did, because I think it was because my eyebrows are so thick. You know, it's like now it's like in to have big, thick eyebrows, even without like a little bit of touch up or whatever. They're thick, big eyebrows. Anyways, back to the subject. So, weight loss, people who have lost a lot of weight, or people who are very thin and think they're bigger. So it's body distortion, body dysmorphia, double vision, phantom fat. There's all these terms out there, but some people have studied it. Some people are, there's so many things, and it's, I have some really great tips and a really good solutions. So for me, I don't have it daily where I think, oh my God, I'm this, whatever I used to call myself, right? Because I know we could talk to ourselves very, 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 and be very damaging. I think that I could be more critical and more damaging to me than anybody else could be. And I'm sure that you are too. Whether you've lost a lot of weight or you haven't, or you want to, you can look in the mirror and be like, girl, you need to, you know, you need some Botox. You need to, So a lot of these people, going back to the people with body dysmorphia, they do seek out plastic surgery, and plastic surgeons are starting, or maybe have been educated to see the red flags. And how many of you guys have seen Botched? Oh my gosh, yes, I love that show. So, and there's people who they're not happy. It doesn't matter how somebody would say you look perfect, you look like a Barbie doll or Ken or whatever. That's another syndrome. They still don't feel good about themselves. There's nothing that's going to make them feel better. Journaling is another thing. Getting that help from somebody else who understands. I fought it for so long. And that goes to, I don't have a lot of time left. I don't want to go too long. But when I first started losing weight, the reason why I had so much shame, and I didn't want people to know like I had surgery, or that even that what I was doing to lose weight, because I did not see myself accurately. I knew I was a big girl. I always say I'm a big girl. I was a big girl, and I got a big heart. But I didn't realize how big. It's like I had a blind spot. We all have a blind spot when it comes to ourselves. It's like, how did you not know? Like, how did you not know? I knew, but it was like a denial thing going on. So when I would see pictures, I was like, oh my gosh, what? How could I have even went out of my house like that? And I had to shake it off. I had to shake that off, because you can get depressed behind that. You can be like, oh my gosh, you know what? What am I? You could just go, 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 go. And that's why a lot of people say, you know what? It's easier to stay the same than to change. And you know what? You can feel like that. But I want you to know that you're probably, like myself, and perfectly perfect. No matter what size you are, color you are, where you came from, who your parents are, where you were born, how you feel about yourself, you are amazing. You have a purpose. You are stronger than you think, and you are loved. You say, nobody loves me. I love you. I care about you. I had to develop that inner voice. I had to develop it. I had to grit. It's called grit, baby. It's called grit. Grit got me up every day to exercise. Grit got made me pick Brussels sprouts over French fries. Grit made me say no, not next Monday, today. There's a lot of techniques, there's a lot of strategy, there's a lot of work, but it's good work. And you won't be the same. You're going to be like that. Like my husband says, you're a butterfly now. No, but for real, I just, I am here for you. There's a lot of people out there, who I have my own coach. I go to coaches for like macros and exercise because I didn't have all of that education and knowledge. But for inward work and development of your stamina, of your capacity, all of that type of stuff, that's me. And I had to do it on my own. Yes, I've taken some courses. Yes, I've done all of that kind of stuff too. But I know that I do have a special gift, and I know that it's so important. All of that kind of stuff, it works. It works. You ever see those people with so much confidence? They're just like, man, they light up a room. They can walk into anywhere and be like, whoop, 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 They develop that inner voice that says, no, I am the prize. I am the queen. I am, king, whatever, talking to men, talking to women, talking to all people. I am royalty. I can do all things, right? Yes, you can. It takes guts. It takes grit. Well, I don't want to keep you too long. Like I said, I know I'm going to do more on this body dysmorphia and this, I just can't get over this term, body image distortion, because it's so real and it's reality, and a lot of people suffer from it, and I believe it can stop a lot of people on their weight loss journey. It can stop you because you see yourself as one way and it's not reality. It almost stopped me so many times because I thought I wasn't getting anywhere. I talk about the magic number on the scale, like, oh, I'm going to get to that magic number. And no, there's not a magic number. And then a lot of people will tell me, well, the BMI, that's for a certain ethnic, that's just for certain people. Like, if you're Mexican or you're Black or you're Latino or whatever, that BMI chart doesn't apply to you because, we have different body types and and that could be true. I need to study that. I need to find out because for so many years, it's like that doctor told me, you're overweight, you need help, and I didn't, fight her back and say, girl, you just don't even know. And no, I didn't, because it just confirmed that when people see me, they still see an overweight person. It was kind of devastating to me because I was like, wow, I'm still the fat girl, But no, that inner voice that I've developed over the years rose up within me. And I did talk to a couple of my friends and different things. And I said, you know what? All right, I'm going to keep working on me. I'm going to keep on keeping on. I'm going to be stronger than my strongest excuse. I'm going to be the healthiest I need to be for my frame. Whether somebody thinks that I look horrible because they think I look too thin, or somebody thinks that I look horrible because they think that I'm overweight. That's their opinion. That's their perception. And I'm not going to let it stop me. And you can't either. Thank you for being with me tonight. Or it's night where I am, but this topic just has me going. And we're going to talk more about this. I definitely want to have someone. I just started that Instagram. So when I get more followers and get some feedback and do some polls and see if people would love to talk about this topic, because I believe talking about it and exposing the lies about it and exposing the truths too can really help a lot of people, so that you don't think you're all alone and that you're stuck with that double vision or that body image distortion. I should have just taped it to my computer. No. Yes, like I said, there's certain things that have triggered me, like that doctor being insensitive, or, the restaurant thing. I don't have that as much anymore. I think I've done that in a while, but at first I used to. But you can fight back now inside and say, no, no. You know what? I may got a long ways to go, but at least I'm headed there, and be confident. Nice talking to you. Follow us on Instagram, goldcoin145. I will list all of the platforms that I have the podcast on, and I'm so excited to have you join my team for development of yourself and your weight loss journey. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. Talk to you soon.